Hi, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to another episode of Fox Talks. Tonight we're joined by Nate Gayman. He's the master of Golden Rule Lodge on Salem Street in Wakefield, and he's also the owner of Blow to Know, which is a breathalyzer kit that we're going to talk to him and learn a little more about. So, Nate, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing tremendous. Brian, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for all you do for the town and for what you're doing tonight.
Thank you. I got to say, you're looking very sharp tonight.
Right back at you, sir.
Now, I know as master of Golden Rule Lodge, dressing fancy in a tuxedo and a bow tie is nothing new to you. And you've had an interesting year with everything going on. So,
to say the least, Brian. Yeah, so as you know, I wear many hats.
Yes. We'll get into some of those hats shortly.
That's great. So, I wear a baseball cap so I don't burn my head in the sun. I am, quote unquote, the grand poobah of Golden Rule Lodge, or really the master, if you're not talking Red Flintstone. I've also been known to wear a chicken hat and celebrate the Boston Celtics because we're #1, baby.
And you are a Celtics super fan. There's website proof of you. I mean,
I very much miss my Celtics right now. Definitely. So first and foremost, I brought a present for you, my friend.
Oh, thanks.
Everybody loves presents. I know you're not able to open it, so I'm going to open it for you.
Thank you.
This is for being you and for all the dedication. 4th of July in Wakefield. You have yourself, this is a red, white, and blue American flag sweater. Just for you, my friend.
Thank you, Nace. I'll make sure to not wear that on the 4th of July.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be hot on 4th of July, but I love your passion for the 4th of July. I love your passion for the flag. I love the flag just as you do, and I could wear it as anything and everything on my body.
I'm sure you can. So, Nate, back to your role as master. Well, I guess first of all, how did you get involved in Golden Rule Lodge in the first place?
That's a great question, Brian. I'm a transplant, and I'm not a local here in Wakefield, surprising to say. I grew up in the world's greatest city of Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I went to high school in Framingham. So I am a Bostonian. I've moved all over the world and all over the country, but for the last 20 years, I've been local to Boston, and since 2007, I've been local to Wakefield. What that ties in with Golden Rule Lodge was that when I moved to Wakefield, I only knew a few individuals. I knew Rich at the sign shop because he did graphics for me for my vending machines and stickers and signs. I knew my mechanic, and I knew Darina at Eastern Bank because she was my banker. And I loved everything about Wakefield, but I knew no one. And I started to see things about masonry on the Discovery Channel, and these were things I didn't know as a child, so they were very intriguing to me. Then, just by luck, Ben Franklin came on the radio, and he started talking about coming into the lodge and asking a Freemason. So, ironically, I had about 500 chicken hats that I had to sell at Harpoon Fest, and I think that day I was actually going into Cambridge to sell them. So I'm loaded up with my 2-seater and 500 chicken hats, and I run in and say, "Hey, what's happening here, guys? Tell me what's going on." and then I signed up, and I said, "I gotta go. I gotta sell some chicken hats."
You didn't see all that kick you out? I mean,
yeah, I was. If they took me after that story, they've got to take me. But it was really one of the greatest things I ever did, and the lodge opened its arms to me, and it's been said, "Knock and the door shall be open. Ask and ye shall receive." And I asked and I did receive. I received brotherhood and fraternity. And I really knew no one in the neighborhood. One of the first individuals that I got to speak to was your Uncle Jim, who lives 3 doors away from me.
Yep.
And he told me about the story of the Curley family mansion. I bought my home from Kirk Curley. And so I was very intrigued in how his house used to be the carriage house for the Curley family mansion. So I was very amazed. And then all of a sudden I started running into my brethren at Shaw's and over at Stop and Shop and at Home Depot and Hart's Hardware. And I I got to know a huge amount of individuals that I would have never met that are some tremendous people. And as it stands today, I'm the master of the lodge, which is the highest rank within the lodge to run it. There are many other higher ranks that you can earn, but I've worked for over a decade to become the master of the lodge, and I'm really proud of what we do here at Golden Rule. And a lot of people ask questions about Golden Rule Lodge, about Freemasonry. There aren't any conspiracies.
Are you sure?
Exactly. None that I know of. There are a few secrets, but they're secrets within ourselves, and we share them with individuals that join us. The biggest thing about Freemasonry is community. And really, it's about giving back to the community. So we have local blood drives at the lodge. John Perino, your brother-in-law, ran a tremendous blood drive last month with the Red Cross, and we were able to schedule it with COVID and make sure that social distancing was involved, and it was a tremendous success. We do My Chip programs where we register information for individuals' children, everything from dental impressions to fingerprints. And we give back to the community each Easter. As you know, your Uncle Jim runs the program, and we give back to individuals in the community that have need at Easter time. And at any time, should they come to the lodge with needs. So really what it is about fellowship, it's about community, and it's about giving back. And that's what Golden Rule Lodge is.
It's a very good summation for it. So as master, your term kicked off in September. And, you know, September, October, November, and then all of a sudden, you and I were at a rehearsal in March, getting ready for the meeting to be held the next day, basically, a few days from then. And this email came saying, stop everything. So right now, your term got broken up, basically. And in Golden Rule, we have a history of a master's only a master for a year. So in your case, you got to March, and your year is supposed to be winding down with a new one coming in. And we don't know what's going to happen yet. So how's that been, how are you dealing with all that?
Really, thanks. That's a great question, Brian. I was really excited to become the master of the lodge. And for those that don't know, everything within Freemasonry is memorization. So it's word for word, and it has to be memorized. And as you get further and further through, you get to memorize more and more complex things. So I'd spent about 15 hours preparing for our meeting that month, as I had for the meeting the month before and the month before that. So I don't have any regrets about this year and missing a few months of lodge. I have regrets not seeing my good friends and my brothers, but we did so much work throughout this year, and I was able to do so much with the lodge that to miss a few months to save people's lives and to keep people from getting COVID, I'm okay with that.
No, that's good to know. I mean, you are one of the favorite people I've met as a member of that organization, as you know.
Right back at you, sir. Wow.
I see you all over town. You're very active in Wakefield. You ran for selectman a few years ago. On Thursday nights, you can be found when it's running at the BP Library jazz shows. I mean, you're an active guy, and now you're kind of like pinned in at home right now. So how's that working for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty tough. I have what's called FOMO, or fear of missing out. So I need to be out of the house and involved with something at least 5 nights a week, which did me all right having season tickets for the Celtics and going out to see live shows like Matt Stubbs and the Antiguas and his band GA20, or going to see local bands and everything from Cambridge over at the Middle East at some of my favorite clubs to some of the great bands like, we were going to see Motley Crue this summer. Those tickets are gone. Rage Against the Machine, those tickets are gone. These are some of my favorite bands in my life. I myself had over $2,000 worth of concert tickets that got canceled this year. So many different festivals, so many great concerts. And it's not on the fault of the promoters. It's not on the fault of the bands. It's not on the fault of Ticketmaster. This is what's happened to us, and that's what we're going to have to deal with. I really applaud the bands that are going out there, like the Dropkicks that did everything live from Fenway. Amazing things that they're doing. At the end of the day, nothing's going to be a substitution for live music, and we'll get it again someday, I'm certain.
So as a Celtics super fan that's like documented, how'd you develop that reputation that you have?
Well, I've been known to wear my chicken hat out in public, and it really started with a big foam cowboy hat at the Beachcomber down in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. And I went to visit my uncle over in Cincinnati, and they have the biggest chicken dance in the world there, and they had this chicken hat, and I wouldn't give it up. I started to Google chicken hats, and this was in 2002, 2003, because mine started to get really dirty.
Yeah.
And I finally found the guy who sold them, and he would send me 5 at a time. I got fortunate, and I made it to the World Series in 2004. Not only that, I made it on the pregame with my chicken hat on. So when I called to order from the guy, I said, "It's Nate Dogg here in Boston." He goes, "Nate Dogg, is that you on the World Series?" Ever since then, employee discount. And I started talking to my friend who works at Harpoon Fest, and he runs all the food there. So now I sell chicken hats for Oktoberfest at Harpoon Fest. In between then and now, I started going to the Celtics back in the mid-2000s when they were horrible. I went to 10 games in 05. I scalped in for $5 a game, and I witnessed 1 win in overtime. And after that season, I was addicted.
Now, your seats now, what are you, 6 rows behind the basket? So when I put the TV on,
yeah,
I look for you.
Row, so I guess technically I'm 7 rows.
Oh, sorry, 7 rows.
They put an extra row behind
on the floor behind the net. So I look for you on TV. I can't miss you when I see you on TV. I've seen you on TV at Patriots games. Can't miss you there either. Like they'll pan across the crowd and like there you are. So you're everywhere. You play Where's Waldo with you.
I get lucky. I fought forever. I'd never been on the Jumbotron over at Fenway, and I got to get on the Jumbotron with my red, white, and blue hat a couple of years ago. That was amazing. And yes, I actually made it on TV for the Pats game, that Buffalo game. That was fun. Really, just like Golden Rule and just like live shows, it's about camaraderie. It's about fun. It's about energy. I can tell you, as being a diehard Bruins fan, to go in and the energy to be able to pull it off, to win it in the last seconds. Someone's always going to win. Someone's always going to lose. And you never know.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is you've got born enemies. You got sworn enemies that you have to get up against. And I tell you who doesn't like me. LeBron James doesn't like me. Harden, he doesn't like me. Ben Simmons, he does not like me. He's afraid of me. The Greek Freak doesn't like me. Steph Curry, he doesn't like me. Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. He didn't like me. And
why don't these guys like you, Nate? What are you doing to these poor guys?
I get in their heads. They're playing my team. They're my enemy. So I have to point it out. What, LeBron? Why are you breathing heavy? It's the first quarter. Steph Curry missed 4 shots in a row. Ray Allen sold out the Celtics to go to Miami. I yelled it every minute that he played when he came back, and he scored 3 points that night. And he was disheveled. But he sold me out. And I can't have that.
You trade? I know. You trade everyone.
If the 08 team forgives him, I'll forgive him. Because I've given Ray Allen's mom over 6 chicken hats at the end of games. But I love the Celtics. I love everything to do with the Celtics. I love all the energy. Word has it we might get some finals down there at Disney.
Yep.
We're going to come back next year or the year after. Whenever it happens, we're going to come back.
So did your love of going to arenas, concerts, bars and clubs, is that what led to your business No to Blow? Is that how you got in the door?
Certainly. I went up to Montreal in 2006, and I noticed these machines in all the bars, and I thought they were amazing. I'd never seen a breathalyzer machine. I myself really don't drink a lot, so I've been a sober driver for a long time. I'll have a scotch every once in a while, or some red wine with dinner, but at the end of the day, I thought it was amazing. So I started looking at manufacturers, and they wanted $3,000 or $4,000 a machine. So I shelved everything that I had, and I started looking back in 2006, and I decided I'd make my own machines. So my goal with Below to No Corporation was to become a vending machine manufacturer and to sell these vending machines all over the country. So I sourced electronics and looked all over the world. I worked with a manufacturer from overseas. We had an agreement to have rights to the product in America. And unfortunately, within the first year, I learned a valuable lesson about business, about the law, about lawyers, and about working overseas. He backdoored me and sold to my 5 biggest leads. And by a year's time, I had 5 people selling my same product against me. So like all business owners or people putting together a business plan, I went to my secondary business plan, which was to build these breathalyzer machines, hang them on the walls in the bars, and make my money the old-fashioned way. And at the height of everything that I had, we were rolling. We had about 25 machines out there. As it stands today, I have maybe a half dozen left. I've been getting bars closing left and right, and it's getting worse and worse with the COVID. So unfortunately, I do believe that with all of this, I may actually shut down my company, which is scary. It's a hard fact.
I mean, I know there's talk that maybe 30% of businesses won't come back from this. Just small retail stores, when you have, Target, Costco, Walmart are all through the roof in sales, but, guys like you and people in the restaurant and bar industry, they can't be open. So you have people, I interviewed Bob Sardella from Sardella Science. He makes a living making signs for businesses. Well, a business isn't getting a sign right now because there's no need for a new sign. So it's kind of this trickle-down effect that then it hits guys like you that supply things to these places.
It is. It's a big trickle down. And I mourn for the bars that we lose. If you didn't see the news, we lost Great Scott last week. That was an amazing venue for live music. We've lost TT the Bears long ago. We lost Johnny D's over there in Somerville. That was an old school place. And unfortunately, it's like the Allman Brothers said, there's nobody left to run with anymore. With what happened with COVID, I mean, we're really going to need to support these restaurants. We're going to need to support these bars. And I want to go through a group of individuals, restaurants, and vendors that I've patronized here in Wakefield for years, and especially during COVID. So I want to give a shout out to Hart's Hardware and all the crew there, Morena's Pizza, as I love their pizza, as well as their escarole soup, Nick's Pizza. If you haven't had the gyro calzone there, you've got to give it a taste. Caparel's Liquors, they've kept us with lots of red wine. Excuse me. Bertucci's Pizza over there in Reading. Dino's Pizza. If you haven't had the buffalo cheesesteak calzone, go and get a piece. Dunkin's, as well as Cumberland Farms, as well as the Gingerbread Construction Company, and Honeydew. They've always taken care of me.
I know you cruise over to Honeydew in your Corvette and everything, so you got
always
on those nice days, got to be by the lake. So
they've taken care of us. Of course, tequilas and many other vendors. And really, what I also want to do is, I'd like to just have a quick moment of silence for everybody that's been affected by COVID and everybody that's passed due to this. Thank you. And I also want to thank, more importantly, the town of Wakefield, Wakefield DPW, and more importantly, the police of Wakefield and the police here in America. And I want to thank everyone that's out there. And it's not a shot or a dig or anything else like that. This is a hard time that we're all having, and everyone's playing the blame game. I go to places and I stand in line and everyone's angry, and I'm thanking people to just be there to work for me, and they're very surprised. And I'm wondering why other people who've been sitting in their house for 2 months could come and be as volatile, when really we should give thanks that we're even allowed to go out in public, that we're allowed to pick up food, that we're allowed to go to the hardware store and get paint. And it's sad to say, we took all of this for granted for so long. And everyone talks about the new normal, and when different protocols are mandated, it's almost immediate that people start to play the blame game. There's only one thing to blame. It's COVID. COVID is doing this. The government's not doing it. The governor is not doing it. No one is doing it. COVID did this. So stop blaming each other and let's get together. Be positive. And I'm sorry, I'm saying that with a frown on my face. Be positive. That's
that was one of the things you had run on when you were running for selectman, was that go get 'em attitude and staying positive. And unfortunately, it didn't translate to a lot of votes, but you gave it a shot. And
no, it was tremendous. And I believe Phyllis Hull should have had that role, and she did, rest her soul. She was amazing for the town. I learned so much when I ran, and I'll do it again in the future when I've got a lot more time on my hands. By that time, it'll be a city and you'll be the mayor, my friend.
Well, Nate, it's been great talking to you.
The 4th of July parade, because that's always been a tremendous thing. And I know how much work you put into it throughout the years, but this year as well, it's going to be really sad. And I know many of our friends, they're going to miss out. And, well, no matter what, you're invited to Charles Street on 4th of July, Al. All the town. Come by here and we'll get wild.
You won't be able to miss it. Well, Nate, it's been great to see you tonight and talk to you, as always. I look forward to seeing you again in person when we can get back together again.
Of course. Of course. I look forward to seeing you. Oh, I didn't even bring up the public kitchen. I'll see you over at the public kitchen soon.
Was there last night.
So I look forward to a point where the worst thing that we have to worry about are parking downtown, benches, people leaving a JanSport out, separate water meters, taxes, a new high school or not, and coyotes.
That's the good old days.
To have those to be my worst worries in this town again. Wakefield, in all seriousness, go on with the show. Keep it positive. Keep the love alive. All the love that you give will come back to the end. Go on with the show, Foxy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nate Gayman. Good to see you. Thank you.